I'm live. There we go. Hello, YouTube. I'm live. There was no prior notice for this live event. Sorry, guys. What's up, everybody? Let's wait for the people to come in. This was a spontaneous, unscheduled, live, chill out, hangout, whatever you want to call it. And it's so windy. I'm trying to find a good spot where it's not going to be super windy. Christine Dugan Grote, what's up? How's it going, Christine? What are you up to today? All right. Christine is first. What's up, Christine? What's up? Where are you? Vicky. Vicky Valdez. ¿Cómo estás, Vicky? All right. Let's see. So you guys see the view? Woo! Super windy. The wind's going to ruin the audio, so I got to come hide inside or find a spot where it's like shaded from the wind. What's up, everybody? Let's talk about health, longevity, getting the human body machine to thrive. Letitia Rocca, how's it going? PJ Mo asked if I have neighbors. Yeah, I got neighbors. I got many neighbors. Can they see me right now? Most of them cannot. Can I hear my neighbors? No. Chichunga, what's up, Chichunga? What a name. Oh, it's so nice. So nice out today. Tyler Durden, what's up, dude? Tyler Durden in Australia. DeWitt Sagastoom, what's up, DeWitt? DeWitt, you've been around. I've seen you in these live hangouts before. Andrea Kling, how's it going? Ryder's coming. What's up, dude? Hi. You want to come say hi? All right. So what's up? You guys got questions? I'm going to shut it down if we don't have any questions. What do you guys want to talk about today? We're over here. It's the afternoon. We're kind of chilling out in the afternoon sunshine, getting some of that vital nutrient of natural light. We talk about optimizing health, optimizing performance, improving biomarkers a lot, and simply being outside, simply moving your body around outdoors. I mean, you don't even have to move. You could just be sedentary outside, laying down outside in the natural light. And it could be a cloudy day. The UV will still penetrate. You can be at the upper latitudes or lower latitudes. You can be in Northern Europe and still get beneficial effects from full spectrum natural light and red light. Larry Cabra de Bogotá, Colombia. ¿Cómo estás, Larry Cabra? Leticia Roca de Uruguay. ¿Cómo está la clima en Uruguay y Bogotá, Colombia? You know what's... I can't even tell... You know when you're going to tell a crazy story and your kids are around, you have to stop telling a crazy story about Colombia? Brian Levy, what's up, Brian? Says, I've been hearing a lot about keeping our gut microbiome healthy. How do you go about doing this? All right, that's a really good question. And the answer to that is going to be, there's no short answer to that, and there's no one answer to that, and there's no real correct answer to that. The gut microbiome is crucial. We got Ariana working on her gut microbiome right there with some organic fruit. Hopefully that's organic fruit. Might be in Chile. It's organic as far as we're concerned. It's delicious. The gut microbiome. Now, a lot of people are concerned with gluten sensitivity, celiac disease, non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Now, the gut microbiome is kind of the battleground of our immune system. So much of our immune system is wrapped up in the gut-brain axis. There's a nerve called the vagus nerve, which directly connects your gut with your brain. So the gut microbiome can affect our mood, parasitic relationships with biological organisms, bacteria, fungus, yeast overgrowth. These things can develop in human beings and actually make us very susceptible to infection, to chronic disease, and to disrupted cognitive function and emotional function as well. There are parasites, there are little bugs that can live in us that can actually affect our cognition. You want to start going down a crazy rabbit hole, start looking into, Toxoplasma, T. gondii. Toxoplasma gondii, Gondii. That stuff's crazy. It's carried through cat feces, and it spreads in really crazy ways, but actually the effects that it has on human beings is fantastic, staggering. People who are infected with this have more car accidents. Chronic disease are more likely to, and this might sound like really crazy, but they're more likely to be autistic. Autistic children have high levels of Toxoplasma gondii. There have been all these studies on this crazy parasite that's transferred to humans from cats. So yeah, look, the gut microbiome is incredible. And if you start digging into it, you will realize that we do not know very much about it. In fact, we don't really know much about much at all in this world. We like to pretend in our intellectual pride, oh, well, I went to a university, so I'm highly educated. We don't know much. Anybody who's well-versed in the sciences will tell you that what we don't know is much more vast and broad than what we do know. And anybody who insists on, oh, well, we know it all, we've got it all figured out, or those experts, they've got it figured out, they're fooling themselves. They're caught up in intellectual pride and are actually contributing to ignorance through empowering the cult of the expert, right? Because somebody claims they're an expert, we all must bow to the experts. We all must believe that everything they say is absolutely correct. So the gut microbiome research is constantly changing, and there's a lot of new stuff coming out on it. How do I go about keeping my gut healthy? I think one of the most important things for gut microbiome balance is mindset, mind state. I'm about to improve my mind state by killing a mosquito right here. Oh yeah. See that blood? Success. Look at that. Parasite killed. Hashtag vegan. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I mean, how do I go about keeping my gut microbiome healthy? I try to stay with a balanced mindset. I try to move my body to create peristalsis, and I try to breathe as much as I can through the nose and into the diaphragm. Now, the diaphragm actually massages your entire internal organ system. It ignites the fascia tissue in our body with electrical energy as we're drawing that breath through our body. Breathing is super important for every physiological process. Also, keeping inflammation low in general. I prefer to eat a ketogenic diet. When I'm not in ketosis, I don't eat foods that inflame my gut. Now, everybody's got different sensitivities to different foods. So, I mean, there's a lot of myopic gurus out there who will tell you, well, everybody's got to avoid this food or that food or this or the other. There's no one quick answer to how do you keep your gut microbiome healthy. Some people can benefit from certain microbes that can mess up someone else's gut microbiome. So it's about balance. I'd say getting in the natural sunlight is a really, really big helper. Vitamin D, actually, and like we talked about in the last hangout, it's not just vitamin D. When I say vitamin D, I almost want to scoff at myself because I know that there's so much more going on than just vitamin D production from the sun, right? We get out in the sun, we have vasodilation, we liberate nitric oxide from our cells, allows better improved mitochondrial function. There's so many things that happen, but getting sufficient sunlight, generating natural vitamin D from the sulfated cholesterol in our body is really crucial also for maintaining a healthy gut microbiome. So there's a bunch of answers, none of which you probably expected. Oh, take probiotics, take this product, take that product. It's not so simple. But actually, I've got really good news for everybody who's more interested in hearing more information about the gut microbiome. Tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock 12 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to say. I think 12 o'clock. Either 12 or 1 o'clock Eastern. Forget what time it's at. It's either 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock Eastern. Midday, I'm talking to Dr. Grace Liu again about everybody's favorite hot topic, the sexiest topic there is out there, the gut microbiome. We're going to talk about poop. We're going to talk, we might even go beyond poop. We might even go into the rabbit hole that nobody wants to go down. That I highly recommend. Don't start going crazy with with the Google doctoring. But we're going to get into parasites and fungus, I think. I want to talk about parasites with Dr. Grace Liu because there's some interesting stuff going on there. But I'm not sure how well versed she is, how much of an expert she is, but she has been studying the gut microbiome for a long time. She's got a really fascinating perspective. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. ADGP, what's up, man? We got so many comments while I was just babbling. I'm getting a bit of joint pain. Could it be lack of carbs? Been in keto over a year now. You're getting joint pain. All right, so joint pain, I couldn't see how in the heck that could be from lack of carbohydrates. Joint pain. We're just talking about the gut microbiome. I know when I get joint pain and back pain, I can't tell which came first, the chicken or the egg, if it was gut issues or back and spinal issues and joint issues. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who've got arthritic conditions will find that gut issues will either precede or accompany flare-ups in the symptoms. So you could have something going on with the gut. You could have systemic inflammation going on from certain foods that are being consumed that are not ideal, or you could just be beating your body up too much. For those of you who are interested in like learning more about like red light therapy, I would say look into, there are some devices out there, and I might have the makers of one of these on soon, but I just bought this light, and I'm really excited to get it. It's called the Joovv, Joovv, and I usually don't go out and, there's so many companies, they're always making their rounds on like the paleo podcasts and stuff, right? Whoever's got the new book is on every podcast, and everybody's just cycling the same information and jumping on the bandwagon of what they think is popular and whatnot. But red light is something we've been talking about on this channel since the beginning. You guys probably remember the interviews with Dr. Jack Kruse. We had 2 or 3 of them. I think 3 times the dude's come on this channel. We talked a lot about red light. Are you the only one getting the video? I hope not. Not getting the video. Can everybody see in here? Alright. So anyways, red light therapy. I'm not usually into jumping on these bandwagons of, promoting these products. I don't have an affiliate, anything with this company, but the Joovv light, Joovv, looks really interesting for actually reducing inflammation, getting a lot of the benefits that you would get from natural sunlight, which, you just saw me outside. I had to come hide from the wind or I'd be out there. And again, Ariana's getting the light on her right now as she eats dried bananas and plays with tape. We got Ryder. We got Duke. We got the whole crew chilling here. But anyways, that Joovv light, you might want to look into red light therapy if you're having intense joint pain, chronic inflammation issues and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's not because of lack of carbs. I hope you figure it out. It could be food. It could be gut dysbiosis, food sensitivities, environmental factors. You could just be beating your body up and not recovering. So many things that could be going on. Larry Cabra, what's up, man? Cha-chunga. Let's talk about why YouTube says all your videos aren't suitable for advertising. You got to ask YouTube. You got to ask the Borg. This is Google, YouTube. Google and YouTube are the most powerful entities the planet right now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as corporate power goes, right? As far as exoteric power goes, surface level, what you tell the masses, what the cattle are allowed to know. Power, Google and YouTube are the forefront of information flow and, unfortunately, social engineering. And if you listen to Eric Schmidt, the head of Google, he has publicly stated that that's what he sees himself as, a social engineer who is looking to augment humanity. Because, of course, the philosophy of these people is that they are the top of evolution. They believe in this neo-Darwinist, social Darwinist, philosophical theology, which Darwinism is a theology. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. People who can't critically think and who don't question the world around them. But yeah, so Google's Eric Schmidt has publicly stated many times he believes his job and Google's role is to augment humanity and socially engineer the masses. There was an interview with him when he was talking about, well, the problem is when people try to look for something, there's so many answers, right? Well, why don't we just have one answer? There should only be one true answer for these things, according to Google. And so Eric Schmidt believes that Google has the right to determine what is reality, what is true, what is moral, which is hilarious because in neo-Darwinism, in social Darwinism, there is no morality, right? There is no objective basis for morality in the philosophical construct of this theology that's pushed on the masses. And that people like Eric Schmidt of Google, obviously Jeff Bezos of Amazon, these individuals, they don't believe in moral restraint. So if you're fair and whatnot, don't complain about what I'm talking about, or you can bounce. Don't tell me to go back to keto. I talk about what I want to talk about on this channel. It's not just a keto channel. So if you got complaints about this content, you can scuttle your little purdy ass out of here and go somewhere else and talk about nonsense and repeat all this crap. So anyways, yeah, that's what's going on with Google. It's social engineering on the behalf of advertisers and whatever other agendas are being pushed down from the top down. We're not privy to that, unfortunately. The algorithms are programmed by people with motives, both economic and socio-political. So, Google. Jay Smith says, remember when Google used to show you stuff you've never seen before, and now it only shows you the same stuff you already look at? Exactly. It's an echo chamber, right? Google's job is not to help educate the masses. Google's job is to filter information and act as a gatekeeper for information on the internet. The fact that Google has consolidated so much economic and political prowess is alarming. It needs to be kept in check. And you know, I mean, it's unfortunate that so many people, so many entrepreneurs are under the thumb of companies like Google and Amazon and are afraid to speak out, right? I mean, think about how many people have Amazon affiliate links as one of their main business income sources. And look at Amazon now. After consolidating so much of the entrepreneurial market for people who are, you know, selling books or want to do affiliate links, these digital nomads, they've consolidated that entire market, and then now they're going to rip everybody off. They're decreasing the monetization that people have. Google's does the same thing through YouTube. But, you know, Amazon's doing the same, you know, decreasing the profits that the individuals actually make. After the consolidation of power, you throw away the people that built your platform. Same with Facebook. It starts out free, and then it goes further and further and further into profiteering. And, of course, with corporate money comes corporate control of the message. So you look at the message that's allowed on TV, television, very narrow message, right? Always loaded, right? Always loaded with lots of programming, social engineering, right? So, yeah, it is what it is. That's what's up. That's why Google demonetizes videos, certain videos, due to algorithms. Apparently, keto is not advertiser friendly. And I've put out certain videos before with, and I've said certain things that obviously are not in line with the philosophy of Google and YouTube. All right, what's going on, everybody? Finally did bulletproof tea today. OMG, I've been missing out. I mean, look, you put fat in your tea, Vicky. Come on, who cares? It's fat in the tea. How about cream? Bulletproof. Bulletproof is a brand. All right. Let's see. 6 weeks into keto, and I'm starting to really get in the groove. 9 pounds of belly fat gone. Congratulations. Larry Wallace says, ketones in a can? Cash cow? Totally. Ketones in a can are a big cash cow. That's what it's all about. From Cincinnati, new to you and learning so much. Thanks. Getting both books tomorrow. Damien, what's up, man? Damien in Cincinnati, thanks for checking in. Right on, man. Chachunga, thanks for the question and comment. Alan says, or Alin, that's a cool name, A-L-Y-N-N. Alin says, hey, Tristan, spells my name wrong. Can only hop on here for a sec, but wanted to let you and Jessica know. The whole family loved the zucchini chocolate chip cookies. Well done. Woo! The zucchini chocolate chip cookies are so, so good. For those of you who don't know, Jessica's got a new book out, The Ultimate Guide to Low-Carb Baking. I'd go in there in the kitchen and see what Jessica's doing, but I don't know what kind of a war zone it is. It might be completely unpresentable. Homemade fruit leather for the kids. Not keto-friendly, guys. Like fruit roll-ups for the kids. That's really cool. JCA says, keto sucks. It's a scam. Good work. Keto sucks. It's a scam. With no, like, in all caps, too. This is how dumbed down the population is from all this social engineering nonsense. People can't even make a salient point. Keto sucks. It's a scam. Hey, from UK, folks. Hope everyone is keeping good today. Hey, Tristan and Jessica. Hope you're keeping good. We're keeping good, Alistair. So, yeah, those zucchini cookies are amazing, right, Alin? I'm glad you like them. I'm glad the whole family likes them. They're one of Ariana's favorites, too. She's something to show you. She's shredding. Those zucchini cookies, I ate like half a batch. I ate like a whole batch of those one day. It was crazy. All right. So yeah, the zucchini cookies, freaking incredible. Try them out, guys. All right, so there's a recipe. We put 2 different versions of the recipe in the book. One of them, you have the option of adding gelatin in them. I way prefer to add the gelatin to those zucchini cookies. You can add from anywhere from 1/2 tablespoon up to 2 tablespoons of gelatin to that recipe. We've done it with 2 tablespoons, and it just makes them really gooey chewy, and they're freaking delicious. So yeah, check out those zucchini cookies. The recipe for that is available on our YouTube channel for free and on our website for free.
Not on the website yet.
Alright. Remember when Google used to show you stuff? Okay, we already read this comment. Yeah, exactly. Remember when Google used to not filter what the top results were? Now everything is filtered. The top results determine the reality for 90% of the population who don't question reality, right? It's just like, you know, when you're in high school and you learn that Wikipedia is not a valid source, but then somehow 90% of the population forgets, or I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, Google is not the top results on YouTube or Google. Just because it's the top results on Google, that doesn't mean it's reality. That just means it's been selected by the social engineers to be put at the top. Just like the programming on the television is specifically selected, the images that you see on television, the sounds you hear in music, specifically selected, the messages you get through music, specifically selected for social engineering purposes. And for those with eyes to see, you can actually see the patterns of social engineering, and you can actually see what's going on, right? You could see the threads throughout all media of the agenda that's being pushed, a dehumanization agenda, an agenda of dividing up people into little insignificant cults so that they go off and worship this nonsense, vegan diets. I mean, diet does the same thing, right? People get all into keto and they think it's like, yeah, it's everything. I mean, this is all part of managing. It's part of herd psychology. It's part of managing people. Read Edward Bernays. Read Bernays, you know. He lays it all out right there. Jennifer M. Cadam. All right, that guy Dane that you're talking about Dane Wigington. Disinformation, in my opinion. It's twisted. Very subtle, but I'm not getting into that. This is not about that. So anyways, we talked about Google. We talked about what happened with the demonetization, the advertising and stuff on YouTube. Let's move on, guys. I remember you talked about reading Uspensky. What do you like to read these days? I don't really read Uspensky these days. What have I been reading lately? Mostly, I don't know. I read a lot of studies and stuff. I've got some books on rehabilitation of the spine. I'm interested in a lot of that stuff. I mean, as far as like, you know, stuff like that. That was years ago. That was like end of high school and college, when I was really into you know, just studying all these, you know, world religions, esoteric stuff. Uspensky was interesting. Gurdjieff was interesting at the time. I read a lot of that. But then I got into you know, reading a lot of the modern 20th century philosophers that have actually informed policy today, right? So you know, you read books by people like Kissinger, Zbigniew Brzezinski, of course Bertrand Russell, and people like Edward Bernays as well. And I'm not saying I read them because I agree. Like half the people I read with are not because I agree with them, right? You know, just because I said I read Uspensky doesn't mean I agree with all of his assertions, and doesn't mean I think that Gurdjieff was either. All right, everybody, I would love to hear your thoughts about a video titled 7 Days of Artificial Intelligence. I haven't seen it, man. I'll look it up though, maybe. Eslam says, stop touching it. Reach. Touching you guys. Time to block someone. So, yeah, that guy was already blocked. All right, let's see. All right, Jeff says, great to see you live. My wife and I lived in Pisac, Peru, 2011 to 13. And 40 days. We have some friends over there. I've 40 days into keto and occasionally have Greek yogurt with goji berries at night before bed. Will this bring me out of ketosis? It'll probably temporarily bring you out of ketosis, but the question is how relevant is that to you, and is it required that you be in ketosis all the time? Now, this is a big thing. Like, people are making this ketosis thing into, I mean, it's marketing, right? Ryder's so cool. It's marketing. The more you confuse people, the more you get people to chase their tail, the more they're profitable. The more profitable that audience is. So, I mean, I probably shoot a lot of people's marketing in the foot here, and I might even seem like a jerk when I'm like bashing a lot of these practices, but it is what it is. Like, I'm here to try to help people. I'm here to spread what I think is the truth. I'm not going to bite my tongue and be a wuss about it. Speak my mind. So, what were we even talking about? Where's that question again? Goji berry. All right, the validity of concerning yourself so much with the state of ketosis, being in ketosis. Will this kick me out of ketosis? Will that kick me out of ketosis? Ketosis is achieved through carbohydrate restriction. It can also be achieved through just the restriction of all food. So the most common way people get into ketosis is just straight up fasting, starvation. Ari's inscribing something. So yeah, I mean the how relevant it is if you're in ketosis at any given moment depends on your goals, what you're doing, why you're doing it. So if you're doing a therapeutic ketogenic diet, if you're trying to be in therapeutic ketosis, like if you have a chronic disease that you're trying to deal with, then it might be relevant to you if you have epilepsy or cancer. If not, if you're going for performance and fat loss, you enjoy some yogurt with goji berries and you might be out of ketosis for a little bit, it might be fine. For other people, that might be a trigger and they might just not be able to stop eating it. So it's really about the context, it's about the individual, and it's about tailoring your habits and your lifestyle to your goals and to your situation. All right, so yeah, that's cool you lived in Peru. We've never been to Pisac. Is it important to add collagen powder on keto? No, it's not important, but it can be nice. We use collagen in a lot of recipes in the new book, in The Ultimate Guide to Low-Carb Baking. That's the book that the recipe that we were talking about earlier that the lovely lady was saying her whole family loved. And what's cool about a lot of these recipes, too, is, you know, if you're on a ketogenic diet, you can make something like those zucchini cookies. They're just sweetened with no glycemic sweetener. They're zero glycemic. You know, having something like that can be a nice bridge. You know, if you've got kids, like our kids who are right here, our kids aren't on a ketogenic diet. Our kids don't have there's no reason for us to put our kids on keto. I wouldn't suggest putting children on ketogenic diet unless therapeutic ketosis is required for something. You know, and people make a religion out of this. They find something that works. This is the way to do it. I'm going to do this forever, and everybody has to listen to me. This is the only way to go about it. A year or two later, they're completely, you know, a year or two later, somebody can either be, I mean, there's several paths you can take from that point, right? You can realize the error of your ways and realize you're kind of like making an idol out of this thing, or you could keep following it down the road. And I don't know. I mean, it's, like I said before, all glass houses have to break eventually. So, I mean, some people, they get so economically tied in with certain ideas, like, oh, I'm on a vegan diet, and then they realize it's not working for them, and then they got to fake like they're on vegan diet. This is big. There's a lot of these vegan diet promoters out there who's eating meat every once in a while just to stay alive. And they're so caught up in the dogma. They're so caught up in this religious fervor for this diet. And this is not just with vegans. I mean, people in keto do the same thing. They start looking at the world, and everybody who's not on keto is a subhuman glucose burner, addicted to glucose. Go snort a line of sugar, you junkies. And it's like it's like dehumanizing to look at your fellow man like, oh, you do that diet, you're less than me. It's like, we've got to be sure that we're not doing this. We're not making something out of it that it's not. So ketogenic diet's a tool. Being in ketosis is useful for some people, but it's about context. And I'll never say that ketogenic diet is great for everybody. There's a lot of people that shouldn't do keto. Like my kids. Give my kids plenty of carbs. But they eat our keto foods. All the stuff from the Ketogenic Edge cookbook, which is our first book. That came out a little bit over, it was 1 year ago, actually. 1 year ago. We released the second book almost on the anniversary. But that book came out a year ago, and that's all just the basics. Like, this is delicious. You know, delicious, nutrient-dense, whole foods-based recipes. No junk food. There's not even any artificial sweeteners in that one. There's none of that. It's all nutrient-dense, whole foods-based recipes. And so that's the Ketogenic Edge cookbook. That's really good for beginners. The other book Somebody just mentioned they love both books, and they're so awesome. Well, thank you. The other book is Brian Street says, hey, say hi to my daughter, Nikki. What's up, Nikki? How's it going, girl? Little Nikki. We got a friend named Nikki. Ariana was just looking at me like, I wanted it. That's my friend, Nikki. All right. So anyways, yeah, don't make a freaking religion out of your thing. You're not better than the world because you eat a certain diet. You just found a diet. And just because it makes you money doesn't mean you have to pretend that it, a lot of these people, they start profiting off something, right? So you start making money off your vegan diet or ketogenic diet. And then it stops working for you. But then you're so economically tied into it, you've already submitted to this thing like, oh, I have to do this for my well-being. And then it's kind of like lorded over you, over your conscience. That's a dangerous path to walk. This extremism about diet. Definitely suggest people keep it in perspective. And I'm not bashing keto. Keto's amazing. I do it most of the year. So anyways, it's not that important to add collagen to keto. It's delicious stuff, and it can make certain recipes really good. Jeff T says, Google's algorithms have almost put me out of business. So this is a problem. When everybody has put their faith in Google, right? Like anybody who's, you guys remember the early days of the internet? It wasn't all Google. You used to use AOL to search. You used to use Ask Jeeves. There used to be 100 different search engines. Google consolidated it all. Where did Google's seed money come from? What's the history of Google? Same with Facebook. Where's the seed money coming from? In-Q-Tel linked companies going through angel investors like Peter Thiel, linked to Defense Department, DARPA. Why are they developing these things like Google? All right, anyway, you guys seen Google's robots? Freaking crazy. Let's see. Google's algorithms almost put me out of business. Yeah, sorry to hear that, man. But we need something else. Like this is a sign, right? Like we cannot submit to Google running all information flow on this like worldwide. It's absurd. It's dangerous, and it's remember Google, they used to say don't be evil. That was like their thing. Yeah. People who are really into NLP, they know that like anytime you say don't do something, like when you tell a kid, don't do this. Don't be evil, Google. Right? In NLP, you ignore I'm not saying I believe in all the tenets of NLP, these douchebags. But, all right, anyways. Brian Street, what's up? Chesapeake, on my way to Louisiana for an LSU game. Right on, man. Jeff says, I'm loving sci-fi novels. Yeah, have you read much of Philip K. Dick? Get into the Philip K. Dicks, man. Philip K. Dick, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Jeff, you've got to read it. There's this character there's this concept about Mercerism, right? There's this religion, and the religion in the future in this book, it's a fascinating allegory. So the religion of the future, everybody's got these like empathy boxes, these little black boxes that they hold onto with their hands, and then they'll like connect to everybody through this empathy box. And this book was written in the 70s. This is before the internet went public. This is when it was the internet was only CIA, DARPA. Philip K. Dick, very fascinating guy, totally out of his mind. But he wrote this book, and it was just the Mercerism. Look, it was one of the most amazing allegories. There's this character Mercer, and the people would use this black box to like look. It was like a TV, right? And they would watch him, and he would just push he would push a rock up a hill like Sisyphus, and it would come down on him over and over again. And everybody would feel empathy together, and it was like, and it wasn't a god. Like they didn't say he was a god, right? But they didn't not say that he was a god. So they like worship this thing that's basically through the television, gives them a false sense of empathy and false sense of connection in this whole artificial world that's all like electric. Do androids dream of electric sheep, right? So Blade Runner was actually based on this novel. It's fantastic. It's hilarious, but it's like really, really crazy and very prophetic in many ways. Mercerism. Tristan, should I convert to carbs for long runs? That's a good question. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on if you're adapted. Like there are a lot of individuals who do a ketogenic diet and do long distance running. Like the top, was that the ultra marathon runner guy who does keto? He's broken all these records. I mean, there's no reason you should convert to carbs for long runs, but if you feel better on it, perhaps. Who am I to tell you what you should do? I'm already sick of seeing Christmas commercials There's a head spot on YouTube. You know, who are the people advertising too, right? It's the same stuff you see on TV, same commercials from TV. That's why the message is so tightly controlled now. Again, we need new platforms. We need an exodus from Google, perhaps YouTube as well. YouTube used to be amazing. Jay Smith says, I can't find mesquite. What can I swap it for? Where's a good place to get mesquite, Jessica? Mountain Rose Herbs, right?
Yes.
Hit up Mountain Rose. Go to mountainroseherbs.com. We got no affiliate to them. Jeff T says, Tristan, thank you for keeping us from obsessing about staying in ketosis. By the way, I'm loving intermittent fasting. I feel so good before I begin eating. Right on. Have you tried intermittent fasting with eating breakfast in the morning the way I teach it? It's the way everyone's going to teach it in a few years. Faith says, you are saving people from eating butter sticks. In all serious, your channel, message, and overall being is inspiring. Well, thank you. Thanks, Faith. I'd compliment you as well, but it'd sound disingenuous because I don't even know you. You have a pretty profile picture and a nice name. Thank you for your honesty. Your videos are extremely helpful to me. Thank you. Eslam likes collagen. Says, as a downhill longboarder, it's heaven. Longboarder. No, some of the stuff that people do is crazy. I remember some video a few years ago from like OJ Wheels, and this guy was on a longboard. I don't hate on the longboarders.
No.
Let the longboarders live. I'd love to see a video about your knowledge on chronic inflammation. That's what brought me to keto and your channel. We were talking about chronic inflammation earlier, man. Everything we talk about sometimes can be boiled down to inflammation. One of the best ways to reduce chronic inflammation, light cycles. Getting sufficient sleep, getting light at the right time of day, and not eating inflammatory foods that mess you up. Johnny Barra says, late to the party. Thanks for all the great info you provide. Thank you. Watch a video by Dr. Berg about hummus being okay on a keto diet. What's your opinion? I don't know. I watched a video from Durian Rider saying that the keto diet will kill you. What's your opinion? I mean, I don't eat hummus. I don't know what kind of carbs are in, what types of beans he's using for hummus. I don't usually recommend that stuff. What do you think of Gary Vaynerchuk? Is that futurist transhumanist guy? I feel like Vaynerchuk is a transhumanist. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think of automation and machine learning like self-driving cars and auto fast food burger flipping machines? It's expected that 50% of jobs will be lost in 20 years. I mean, this is 50% of jobs lost in 20 years. Eslam, bringing me back. 20th century history is something I've been studying intensely. I mean, all through university, that's what I was studying. The history of propaganda, public relations, 20th century history especially, how we get here. You read some of these 20th century philosophers, you read some of the, the National Security Council Memorandum 200 by Henry Kissinger, the Population Council documents, and there's a book written, I forget the guy's name, but he was on the Rockefeller Population Council in the 60s, and people have been openly publishing books about decreasing population since the early 1900s. The eugenics movement was prior to the 1940s, and eugenics got a really bad name, rightly so, because of the Nazi regime in World War II. But eugenics, remember, actually started in New York and was funded by, I did an entire thesis on this in university, but it was funded by Rockefeller interests, big money interests in the United States. Funded the eugenics movement and influenced the eugenics movement in Germany. So, I mean, automation and all this is part of the same thread of, philosophical thought that started coming out in the 1920s, 30s, and even before that. If you look at films like Metropolis, very, very freaky film. I don't suggest showing it to your children. But there's a good vision of what it's all about right there, albeit a very esoteric vision of it. And but yeah, my thoughts on automation. Certain ways of automating things in our life. It sounds great, right? This stuff sounds fantastic. It's gonna be automatized. We're not gonna have to do these difficult tasks anymore. Fantastic. What becomes an issue is when the means of automation have been planned and produced by individuals who have genocidal intent for the population, right? I mean, it's open. Henry Kissinger wrote National Security Memorandum 200 and went to the heads of many of the intelligence organizations. This is available online for free. This is open information. But yeah, the goal has openly been population reduction. So automation is part of that, and we've been programmed through articles in the New York Times, New York Post. They're programming us to think that we're bad, that we shouldn't be alive, that everything is so scary. I mean, it's this constant thing of programming us to believe that we're bad, that we are hurting the planet just by existing, that our farts are killing everything, and that it's a dehumanization agenda. And they wrote about this openly, how they would sterilize people through agents in the water supply, and create a race of super beings of literally they see themselves as we're going to become these gods, and then these little peons will just degrade their genetics and they'll be the lower class, like in Brave New World. Same thing. And people would laugh about people who still had natural births because everyone's born out of test tubes. But now we have an incredible amount of sterile people. Sterilization has been one of the biggest pushes by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. These philanthropists are always talking about population reduction, population control, automation. I mentioned Wired Magazine's article, why the future doesn't need us. Right? This is what they're programming us with. My future requires people. The future that I'm going to inhabit, that my family's going to live in, requires beautiful, happy, healthy, vibrant people who love life, who love each other, who connect with each other on a real level, and want to make the world a better place. Not just wanting to control individuals and depopulate the world from these. These people are projecting their own hatred for themselves onto the population. It's sad. And people like Henry Kissinger, you read these people's writings, Bertrand Russell, they're genocidal maniacs. So yeah, that's what I think about automation. The true cultural appropriation is being done by robots.
I reckon need more.
And the real goal is to get rid of individuals. 50% of jobs lost in 20 years, says Eslam. Yeah, the goal was 90% population reduction. See Georgia Guidestones. 500 million they want to cap the population at, and they want to keep it under that. They've openly wrote about this for decades. All right, I get picked on by skateboarders, so it's okay. I'll skate too, but I'd die if I tried to skate a hill. Yeah, skating hills on a shorter board is a different deal, right? On a longboard, I can't do longboards. You can't turn them. I like to be able to switch stances back and forth and do power slides. Oh, I love sliding. All right, I have about 100 pounds to lose, I'm assuming. I have about 100 pounds to lose, says Scott. What would be the best way to start on keto? Most sites say my lean mass should be about 190 to 194. Is that what I should use to calculate my protein grams? All right, no, you're going to want to use your goal lean mass. So you got 100 pounds to lose. Your goal lean muscle mass, so if you're trying to get down to 160 pounds, then your goal lean muscle mass might be 130, right? So then take 130, multiply that by 0.8. That's 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass in protein every day. Get at least that much protein each day.
There's a really nice zucchini
Then.
recipe. And the ketogenic edge.
All right. Then, all right, so let's see. Protein, 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass on the daily. Get that in. Fat is your energy source. You got 100 pounds to lose, my friend, you're in luck. You don't have to eat a stick of butter with every meal. Unless you want to, follow the Jimmy Moore route, right? What do you judge a tree by? It's fruit, right? Okay. So sticks of butter all day, not going to help you. What you want to do is eat 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass in protein. Then, fat is your energy source. Now, you're going to want to create the deficit from fat. Carbohydrates, keep it low. 20 grams net carb max. 30 grams max, really. But if you're eating whole foods, it's going to be hard to get above 20, 30 grams net carbs. Fat's your energy source. You want to make the deficit from fat. In the beginning, I'd say for you, maybe eat about maintenance calories when you're starting so that you actually Don't get hungry. And then when you get adapted, after about a week of eating, ad libitum, eat as much protein as you require, 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass. Keep your carbs low. Eat fat to satiety for like the first week. Then when your hunger drops, you're going to want to restrict dietary fat. Because remember, you can pull fat from your plate or you can pull fat from your belly. And if you want to pull fat from your belly, more fat on the plate won't allow you to eat more fat from your body. So when your hunger drops, that's when you slash the fat off the plate. When your hunger drops, right? So I hope that helps, man. And the amount of deficit you can handle will depend on how much lean muscle mass you have, how much exercise you do, how much you move, what your metabolism is. It's going to be different for every individual. There's no magic macro calculator. A lot of people always come on here and try to say, oh, use this macro calculator, use that macro calculator. Sorry, guys. Don't come and tell people to use most of these macro calculators are not very accurate, and they're just kind of, I don't know, whatever. You want to use a macro calculator, go ahead. 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass. Fat is the energy source. More fat on the plate means you burn less on the body. Jennifer says, bought the baking cookbook, make a new food every week. Love the berry cheesecake and the best ever keto bread. Woo! Thanks, Jennifer. All right, Scott, I hope that helps, man. 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass, your goal lean body mass. Alice there says, I gave up having a TV 3 years ago. The social interaction of people when you tell them is like you're some kind of freak. Interesting how people are conditioned. No, it's insane. When you stop watching TV and you stop repeating the social programming propaganda from the news, which has, the television has always been a propaganda tool. It was always the propaganda tool. It was invented in Germany during the 1930s. But Hitler saw this as the ultimate tool for control. Radio was really big. Radio was amazing. But once television was out, that's full spectrum sensory input that you can use for propaganda. And all the first films that were put out were propaganda films. And you don't think it's still the same? Why do you think the Department of Defense is spending billions of dollars funding Hollywood movies? Why do you think? Why do you think they're putting money towards Hollywood movies? Judd the Stud, do you ever get scared or anxious in the middle of the mountains, like feeling so small or isolated? No, if I'm in cities, I get anxious. I feel like I'm in a, meat grinder. I love being in the mountains. And we're not all alone. We got plenty of neighbors. We got a tight-knit community here. I feel super safe here. Been eating breakfast and lunch and fasting breakfast again. What do you recommend when my family is eating Wingstop and I'm in torture? Willpower gets thin sometimes. John, that's a good question, man. Eat before your family's going to Wingstop. If you're going to Wingstop with your family, eat before you go. Or bring some food, Eat a can of sardines before you go there. All right, Eslam says, that's why artificial intelligence has to be built as an open source and with no bugs from the GET. Elon Musk is focusing on preventing the machine from lying. If that happens, we're screwed. Look. All right, open source, yeah, pipe dreams. The artificial intelligence will never become living. This is the thing. All these futurists and these, all these transhumanists they're insane. I don't realize it, and then they sprinkle this neo-Darwinist nonsense, and they bully this population into believing their nonsense. So they appeal to science, so they're fake experts all the time on where reality is going, and they speak on the behalf of evolution. They think that they're grabbing the reins of evolution and becoming gods, and it's just masturbating themselves to death. I don't think any of this artificial intelligence will ever be it will never be intelligent. It'll never be really intelligent. It's always going to be programmed to perform tasks. What comes down to is who's holding the reins of the artificial intelligence and who's programming it. It's very obvious who's programming the Sophia bot, who was just speaking before Saudi Arabia, talking about how humans are programmable and seeding the people with this narrative. Yeah, but you asked about the car. Why are we talking about this? Let's talk about other stuff. All right. Regarding intermittent fasting, are hunger pangs relevant before I eat? I notice that some fluids make me hungry, such as lemon in my water, while black tea doesn't do the same. Is the lemon juice breaking my fast? That's interesting. The lemon juice would make you more hungry. Yeah, it's an individual thing, man, and I don't really feel like getting too deep into that one, but thank you for the question. Eslam Omar is talking about loose trucks. Yeah, it's all about loose trucks, but properly loose, with a hard bushing. All right. Alistair says, let's see. Why is the Board of Cardiology so heavy on veganism? It fascinates and confuses me. How many doctors insist on veganism being best for health? Well, it's the cult of the expert, right? So Bernays talked about this in his early work on propaganda, and now it's called public relations because people knew that propaganda was about controlling people, and so you call it public relations now. But he wrote all about this. He was actually, he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, right? Okay. Jeff says, I got rid of Facebook because I wasn't comfortable with the level of control it had over my perception of the world. Well, luckily, you were able to still perceive that, right? Some people are so far gone with looking for social acceptance that they're not even allowed to question any of these things, right? It's like, what would people think if I thought that? How would this affect my bank account? Tristan, I'm not sure if I understand correctly. The more fat on your plate, the more fat on your plate, the less fat you burn from the belly. The less fat on the plate, the more fat you burn from the belly. Meaning, calories matter. If you eat a lot of fat, you won't burn a lot of body fat. But you don't want to just starve yourself of dietary fat. You want to create a nice, healthy deficit that you can maintain for a long period of time, effortlessly, relatively effortlessly. And that's the goal. Outside now. All right, let's see. So yeah, I mean, basically what I'm saying is that energy balance does matter. And if we eat more food than we need, we can still store fat regardless of if it's on a ketogenic diet or not. And there are lots of people who've gotten fatter on a ketogenic diet. Eslam Omar says, Sophia Bot is the first artificial autism. It's not even, it was so fake, right? That was like, how fake and staged was that whole thing, the Sophia Bot? For you guys who don't know, there was this event with this artificial intelligence company. It wasn't Boston Dynamics, it was somebody else. They did an event in Saudi Arabia, and they're promoting this new fake utopia they're going to build with all the starry-eyed Silicon Valley people who can't afford to live in Silicon Valley anymore and want to move to Saudi Arabia, live in the middle of the desert, and I don't even know what their plan is, how they're going to do this, but they're talking about creating the NEOM, which is like, the way they're advertising it's just like this utopia where everybody's going to be so happy, we do whatever we want, and it's super weird. In Saudi Arabia, of all places, right?
Where women are just now driving.
Yeah, where like women aren't allowed to like walk in public, but they gave this robot citizenship. They gave the robot citizenship in Saudi Arabia. You guys don't realize the programming that's going on here. The humanization of people, the humanization of machines. Crazy.
Oh, they like it.
What are you guys doing?
This is my homemade fruit roll-up mixture here. It's stewed apples. There you go. Stewed apples with cinnamon and then green powder. And they're going for it.
Stewed apples, cinnamon, and green powder. So it's like a green, it looks like green goo.
Like a sour green fruit roll-up. I'm putting it in the dehydrator.
Oh, so you're going to dry that out in the dehydrator. That's really cool.
It's delicious.
Ari likes it. Jay Smith says, women can drive in Saudi Arabia now. They just changed the law. Yeah, but that Sophia Bot, it was so fake. It was so funny. But what's important is what they programmed it to say and what they're really telling the population, right? Anytime you're watching the news, anytime you're watching television, any content that somebody puts out, why are they putting this out? It takes money, time, effort to stage these things and to put out content. And nobody does it because they just love you, right? These people are not putting out, CNN, Fox News, this multi-million-dollar corporation, are not putting this stuff out because they love us. All right. Yeah, the artificial intelligence thing is pretty funny. Elizabeth says, I got the probiotics that Dr. Grace Liu recommended on your podcast and have definitely noticed a big difference. That's so cool. So I'm going to talk to Grace Liu tomorrow, guys. Join in at 12 o'clock. It's actually, I remember now. It's 1 o'clock Eastern. 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock. Wait, 1 o'clock, 9 I think it's 1 o'clock Eastern. No, wait. Yeah, I don't know. Tomorrow at some point, I'm going to talk to Dr. Grace Lou. We'll talk about her probiotic product that she actually recommended on the podcast. And it is an amazing product. She sent me a bottle of it, and it's actually very, very, it's a very high quality probiotic blend, and it doesn't have any histamine producing strains in it, which is important. Keto with Honey Bunny, what's up? Was the high quality of food, especially beef, what brought you to where you live? My friends just moved there and mentioned blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, we came here for a lot of reasons, man. The high quality food, I mean, there is quality food, but it's not a panacea. There's loads of pesticides used in South America as well. You gotta be careful no matter where you go. All right. Keto with Honey Bunny. What's up, Keto with Honey Bunny? Does the amount of protein, the 0.8 grams, go for both men and women? Great question, Beth Buck. 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass will work for both men and women, and people who are resistance training and people who are not resistance training. And remember, when you're trying to lose body fat, and for the individual earlier who has over 100 pounds to lose, when you're eating, if you want to keep it simple, when you're trying to lose body fat, you got a lot of fat to lose, get in your protein, hit your protein macro, keep the carbs low, get some fats in, but look, minimizing the fat on the plate, if you're not hungry and if you can do it, you know, if you got 100 pounds to lose, what usually happens on a ketogenic diet in those states is you get so not hungry. You know, people's satiety goes so high and their hunger goes so low. When that happens, capitalize on it. Strike when the iron's hot. Link CLP says no ways to increase bench. Bench often. You know, bench 2 times weekly. Increasing your bench, you got to program it. You got to program it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of different progressions that one can do, but you can either increase your volume, your intensity, or your frequency, but it's about a balance. You got to be recovering. Doing negative reps, you know, at the very end, drop sets, stuff like that, that can sometimes help. But I mean, it just depends on where you're at, man. I mean, increasing your bench, if you're already benching 305 or something, increasing your bench is different than if you're benching, you know, 120 pounds and you want to increase it. Keto with Honey Bunny says, I fell off the keto wagon and I'm back. My breath smells like crap and it's exciting. Well, I hope your breath doesn't keep smelling like crap because it shouldn't go on like that forever. All right, Jeff. See you later, Jeff. Have a good one, man. Link CLP. All right, Jeff. Yeah. I'd ask you who your friends are who are here, but I don't want to know. I don't want you to say it on in front of everybody. Chachunga's talking about the sunset, which is beautiful. Look at that. Woo! All right. So, like I was saying, if you've got a lot of body fat to lose, get the protein in. Fat is your energy source. If you eat too much fat, you won't be burning a lot of body fat. You got to remember that, guys. Energy balance does matter on keto. I wish it was the case that we could eat as much as we want and still lose weight, but unfortunately, that's what's up. Elizabeth says the interesting thing is that it's got a super high bacteria count, but it doesn't upset my stomach. And she's talking about Grace Lou's probiotic blend. She calls it Bifido Maximus. Yeah, if you look at the actual strains she uses, there's a lot of evidence that they're very, very quality. And, yeah, great stuff. All right. D, what's up, D? D says, I'm the same, Honey Bunny. I can't smell my own breath, but my husband tells me it smells. Oh, no. The keto breath thing. Keto breath. It will pass. Don't worry, guys. It will pass. It doesn't last forever. It's acetone breath. Your breath starts to smell like acetone on keto because you're creating a lot of acetone. It's actually, acetone is a ketone body. So you create acetone in ketosis. You'd be off gassing that acetone. Pee kind of tends to smell as well. Can you eat as much as you want when you are vegan if you eat vegetables and fruits only? Sure, you can eat as much as you want when you're vegan. You can eat as much as you want if you're a carnivore. You can eat as much as you want on a standard American diet. Everybody can eat what they want and the amount that they want, as long as they can afford it. Will you be healthy and happy? It depends on the context. I mean, that's, you know, not making fun of the question, right? But it's like, it is worded funny, right? If you're a vegan, you should look into the silliness and the dangers of what you're doing there as a vegan, because there are many health, it's very detrimental to human health in general. And I say that as a former vegan. so I'm allowed to say it. No, I'm just kidding. The vegans still don't let you say it. There's no such thing as a formal vegan, right? You're just a heretic.
No.
You were a fake vegan. And lose weight. No, if you're a vegan, can you eat as much of this and that and still lose weight? No matter what diet you're on, you can't eat as much of blank and lose weight. Right? I mean...
No.
Well, good luck overeating on protein, though, right? If you're just doing, like, these carnivore diets, good luck overeating on protein. If you're just doing a straight-up, only bland potato diet with no butter, nothing on it, then you'll also lose weight, probably. But that's because your diet is so unpalatable and so restricted that it's really easy to lose weight. But, yeah, Mary, I obviously, since you're watching this, you're not too attached to the vegan idea. As a former vegan, somebody who's seen the detriment that veganism can do to individuals' health and to their children's health, highly suggest getting the dogma out and eating a nutrient-dense, whole foods-based diet that'll get you the fat-soluble vitamins and animal foods that you do require. All right. So who's excited for Dr. Grace Liu tomorrow? Dr. Grace Liu gonna come and talk about poo. We're going to talk about poo, we'll talk about parasites, talk about all the things that is totally not sexy, but whatever. It's fascinating. Opinions on fasting 20 to 22 hours a day and only having a small eating window. Good question. All right, my opinions on it are like everything, there's a context, right? So for me to fast 22 hours a day and have like a small eating window, it can work in certain contexts and it can not work in certain contexts. If I'm doing a lot of intense exercise, if I'm stressed out, not sleeping very well, it would not be a good idea for me to do that because fasting can be stressful on the body. Fasting is psychologically stressful for people. Food is a way that we use to sometimes deal with that stress. And we want to, of course, we don't want to use food as a drug to deal with stress, but lack of food, fasting for long periods of time will increase cortisol. That will make us more catabolic, more prone to bounce back effects when we do finally eat. So, I mean, that's, I don't know, for me, 22-hour fast, not ideal right now. I'm really lean at the moment. I don't have a lot of body fat to burn. So, for me, it's not the greatest thing. For somebody who's got 100 pounds to lose, a 22-hour fast, shoot, I mean, do that for a year and you're probably going to be in better health and feel a lot better than you did for a while, depending on the situation though, right? If you're working night shift, probably not the best idea. So yeah, those are a few contexts. I hope that helps. They say yogurt eats its own carbs the longer it sits. So by the time we eat it, it has minimal carbs. Is this legit? Yeah, you know, I mean, a whole fat yogurt, I don't see a problem with. Check the carbs on it, keep those carbs low, count the carbs, and you'll be fine. I'm going to start wrapping this up, guys. Keto with Honey Buddy says, everybody poops. Let's talk about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, guys. Talk about that poop. What do you suggest? My nephew has been diagnosed with epilepsy recently. His seizures got worse. He has a disease where his body can't absorb fats. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I mean, that's long-chain fatty acids. Oh, long-chain. I don't know. This is not. I'm not here to give medical advice. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what. I would look into CBD, cannabidiol, and cannabis extracts. Right. Hopefully, you live in a state where you don't have prohibition. I would get that kid on cannabis. Sorry, I don't know. I'm not a doctor though. Don't take my advice. There's things that seem to work. That's like the only thing that seems to work for a lot of kids. A1 Fuent. Not at the moment. A1 Fuent. All right. I'm not against it or anything. All right. Let's see. Oops. Any more questions, guys? A1 Fuent for many years, my friend. But not at the moment. All right. What are the health risks involved with going vegan? Well, vitamin B12 deficiency. Vitamin B, you say you just started with all the research. I've never heard of anything. Well, you haven't done enough research then, Mary Alexander. Vegan diets are incredibly deficient in fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin K, vitamin D, vitamin A. You're only going to find these in animal-based foods. I'd rather just clean that thing out. Yeah, so I mean, there's one. Vitamin B12. Vitamin A, vitamin D. What's your daily protein intake in grams? I weigh about 150 pounds right now. I'm negative 5% body fat. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe like, I don't know, 10 to 12% body fat. Like legit 10 to 12% body fat, not YouTube 10 to 12% body fat. My daily protein intake right now is probably about 110 to 120 grams, sometimes up to 130 grams. Which is about 0.8 grams per pound of my lean body mass. MCT, you can risk turning into an angry, depressed YouTuber. How can you risk that? It's, okay, nice dog. Is it a blue nose? Oh, that's my Duke. He's 9 years old. He's a blue nose. Mary Alexander, what's up? Eslam says, it's funny, when I smoke or drink on keto, I get 10 times more drunk and 10 times more high. Interesting. Now, a lot of people use cannabis on a ketogenic diet. Well, actually, it's known that cannabis stabilizes blood sugar levels, so it shouldn't get you as you shouldn't get the munchies as much on keto, especially long-term keto. All right, let's see. Eslam says, I had one shot in the past 3 months, and man, it knocked me out of the galaxy. What'd you just throw? Ryder just chucked something down the hill there. Dude, you're so cool. What's up, Ryder?
Me?
Oh, you're so cool too. Alright. What else is going on? Anytime you read any article or see a documentary or research study, you read, follow the money. Exactly, follow the money. Who funded it? Apply the same to all wars and all television programs, all news media. Follow the money. Qui bono? Who benefits? All right, Link says, I can't get a lot of quality protein because of my budget, but is tuna and salmon pouches okay? Go for the salmon over the tuna, and go for sardines. Get sardines rather than the tuna. Yeah, tuna is higher in mercury, and tuna is just not the best fatty acid profile. Yeah, says Ryder. Go for the salmon. Someone says canned oysters and sardines. Sardines are fantastic, though. I mean, just do the sardines. I've been repping sardines for years. Now everyone else is on the sardines, too. I love it. Will you homeschool your kids? We did today. We have for the last 5 years. No, I mean, we obviously won't put our kids in like the public brainwashing centers.
I went to
And the fake
class.
Ariana just went to class today at school, a ceramics class. We do a lot of homeschooling. We do a lot of yeah, it's a lot of work. It's something we find very rewarding. And, you know, I mean, we don't live somewhere where we have a Western public education system. But if I lived in California still, it'd be very difficult to live the lifestyle we live now, right? Like trying to homeschool kids and stuff like that in California. You're treated like a criminal. You're treated like a subhuman, right? It's about assimilation into the Borg. When I went to the public schools, I mean, it's like, you guys send your kids to public schools. I'm not judging you or anything. I just... You know, we all went through it. We made it out all right. Some of us could still critically think at the end of it. All right. Eslam Omar is talking about his crazy trip when he smoked pot on a ketogenic diet. All right, let's see. Someone says, nice mountains. Yeah, nice mountains. Love these mountains. All right. I eat a lot of hearts on my low budget because they are cheap and yum. Yes, beef heart, chicken hearts, chicken liver. These can be really cheap. Can be a good way to get in protein. Let's see, some other ways to save money on protein. Buying in bulk and buying with somebody, right? Like sometimes you can actually get like a quarter of a cow and put it in your freezer. You can get like a quarter of a cow and split it with 2 or 3 people, and you can get like 20 pounds of meat each. So look into some of this other stuff. Lamb hearts, says Jay Smith. Oh yeah. How about lamb liver? Or like, you know, mature sheep liver too. It's delicious. Super, super good. Let's see. Link says, what's better than processed meat like pork and beef? Is it better than processed meat like pork and beef? Referring to the tuna and sardines. I think so. I think marine-based foods are superior to land-based foods. Everybody's freaked out about mercury contamination in the ocean. I mean, that mercury is also on land too. So, I don't know. And also, the presence of selenium and iodine are incredible additions to Or not additions, but they're just components of fish that help to detoxify the body of heavy metals, which is really good. Why is my skin itching like crazy? I don't know. Is it autoimmune, you say? There could be a million things going on there. I'm not going to try to play Google Doctor for you. Your skin itching like crazy. I mean, it could just be like a passing thing. Maybe you ate something that bugged you. Don't go straight to the autoimmune thing. Oh, I'm broken. I have an autoimmune. Like, don't self-diagnose. Don't go crazy self-diagnosing. Chill out. Relax. Put some coconut oil on. Could have a fungal infection, a yeast infection or something. I don't know. DeWitt says, oh, I'm not a doctor. Ask your doctor for medical advice, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you said it started out with keto. So maybe some people get this keto rash phenomenon. It's a very, very tiny portion of the population, and it usually passes within a few days. All right? So it usually passes soon. If it doesn't, then maybe what you're doing is bugging you. Maybe there's something that's not right with what you're doing for your physiology, right? Because just because I do something doesn't mean it's exactly what's right for you. When I work with clients, very few of my clients have a lifestyle and diet that look exactly like mine, right? We got to look at the whole situation. Okay. DeWitt says, any tips on getting into ketosis when up at night feeding a newborn? Oh, man. Yeah, patience. Patience. Prayers and patience. Pray for patience. Can you start a fire with wood and rocks? No, I can't. I've tried. I've tried. I was in Boy Scouts for when I was 10 or 12. I did once, I think, with friction method. But right now I can't. But I have like flints and stuff. It's even hard to start a fire just with flints. I mean, when you realize how poor our survival skills are and how we've been programmed and engineered to live in very inhuman environments, and the skill sets reflect that now, right? We're good at scrolling and pushing buttons. All right, Lynx has got to go. See you later, Lynx. What's your favorite thing to do? Live. See other people live. See other people light up. I don't know. My favorite thing to do. All right, what else is going on here? We got some people having a conversation among themselves, which is great. Totally fine. If protein is key to keto and fat is the energy source, how do I gauge what fat range to stay in? Well, that's going to be according to your goals. You're going to adjust that according to your goals. If you want to be at maintenance calories, you're going to want to create that maintenance calorie intake through fat. After you set your protein, keep your carbs low, and then fat's going to make up the rest of your calories. You're trying to be in a deficit, and create the deficit through the fat. You're trying to create a surplus, increasing the fats. So, to reiterate, 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass is your protein level. Carbs stay low, fat moves according to your goal. Less fat on the plate means you burn more fat from your body. More fat eaten means you burn less body fat. Many different things affect how much fat we need to eat. Metabolic rate, how much fat you have to lose, hunger levels, stress levels, if you're sleeping okay. Okay, what else? Is hypotension okay on keto? Low blood pressure. You shouldn't have if it's pathological, no. You're probably not eating enough salt if you have hypertension or hypotension on keto. Sodium is really crucial for that. Mr. Remix. Weirdo. Mr. Remix says, what's this channel about? I'm new. Well, how about you go watch some of the other videos, dude? Rewind. What's this channel about? What are you about? You're new. Alright, so in the beginning, don't fear the fat in the beginning. Eat the fats. But you're going to need to create a deficit if you want to burn body fat long term. So a deficit needs to be maintained for body fat loss. But in the beginning, it's better to be at around maintenance. Alright. Someone says, I think I remember a video of you talked about trying to lose some muscle as you felt you had too much for your frame. Could you talk about why this can be a bad thing? No, it's in my context, right? So my frame, I had a major injury to my hip years ago. And also, probably that injury, I think, just exacerbated certain imbalances that were already outstanding imbalances in my body that were creating movement patterns that weren't very beneficial. I got to a point with deadlifting, squatting, and bench pressing, and with my frame, which I haven't lost that much muscle, but I have stopped lifting super heavy in order to prune back a little bit, because I've got a lot of scar tissue in my hips, my left hip to be exact, and really tilted, twisted hips that, you know, carrying extra weight around on top of that hip girdle, it can be really hard to balance it, right? To have proper posture. And so I had to kind of reassess, do a little bit of a frame off restoration on the body there. You know, when you have old injuries like that, they come back periodically. You can reignite them. So yeah, I had a period where actually I got a massage. I was doing a lot of running at the time, and a lot of stuff was just my body was getting pounded. I was doing a lot of running. And I got a massage, and this massage was a violent massage, and I think this masseuse reckoned herself a chiropractor, and she did a few things that were a little overzealous, and this massage kind of put me out for a few weeks, and after that I was just like, man, I'm gonna eat a little bit less protein and stop lifting heavy for a while, and try to lose a little bit of weight. And you know, a lot of it has to do with inflammation levels through the body, like, you know, pain and stuff like that in the fascia tissue, but it takes months to regenerate connective tissue, and it just takes days to regenerate lean muscle tissue. So you got to consider that. So yeah, I felt like the movements I was doing were not benefiting the rehabilitation of my body and the proper function of my body, and the neurological pathways that it was training were not, it just didn't feel right. Like, I like more dynamic movement, being quick, nimble, stuff like that. So I kind of lowered the level of weight I carry. How do you keep yourself sane while getting fat adapted? I've only made it as far as 2.5 weeks until I binged on carbs and I gained all the weight back. Well, don't create a huge deficit in the beginning. You know, and sometimes it's not for everybody, but how do you stay sane? How do you stay sane? I mean, it's your life. It's like, all right, so you had 2 weeks. That's the longest you went. What was the precursor experience that led you to the breaking point, right? Map out the experience that was the precursor to you breaking the diet, to you breaking down. Map that out, and the next time it comes up, have a strategy for bypassing it. So if it was stress, if it was like lack of sleep, and then you got a lack of sleep, one night of missed sleep can give us pre-diabetic blood glucose numbers, even healthy individuals, for the whole day, and make you have very poor glycemic response to food, meaning very poor blood sugar response to food. So making sure to get sufficient sleep, keeping your stress low, and eating sufficient calories to be at maintenance in the beginning, and then dropping the calories back, meaning, you know, I mean, if you want to eat more fats in the beginning and then cut those fats back once your satiety increases. Boom, 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 boom. What's the best diet for weight loss? Are you trolling? I don't know. The best diet for weight loss is the diet that you can stick with long term, that you can enjoy, that gets you the nutrients you need, and that's enjoyable and sustainable long term. That's the best diet for weight loss. The diet you can stick with and enjoy. And it's not just diet, it's lifestyle. Lifestyle changes are required. You can just tell somebody, eat this diet, eat that diet. Keto's the best, vegan's the best, this, that. There's a million different ways to do every so-called diet. Best diet is a diet that's based on whole, unrefined foods that you can stick to long term. What's your opinion on supplements for minerals, etc.? Don't know. I have many opinions on many supplements. All right. Rick Kemp says body fat stores toxins, right? So can losing weight make you get detox reactions? You know, a lot of people do experience that. Not only do toxins get stored in fat, but toxins also, especially glyphosate, is found to be stored in fascia tissue. So, and also emotions will be stored in fascia tissue as well. You ever get a massage and someone hits a spot like on your foot or something? I remember when Jessica first massaged my feet. No one had massaged my feet. No one had touched my feet since I don't know, like maybe, I don't know how many years old. Right? Like when you get a foot massage after you're in like 4th grade and you start becoming too cool for your parents, like no one had touched my feet. And I got together with Jessica. She gave me a foot massage, and it was like an emotional release. Like I was like, it was so weird. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff can get stored in the body, not just toxins, also toxic emotion gets stored up in there too. So there is a process when we're losing body fat and when the body is changing, especially when the fascia, the shape of the fascia tissue, the shape of your gut, the shape of every single part of your body is going to be changing. There is definitely an adjustment period and a neurological adjustment period. And sure, yeah, the toxic release from fats in the body can store fats because it doesn't want to deal with it right then. So yeah, it's not something that everyone needs to worry about. Oh, I don't want to lose my body fat because I'll maybe detox. Like, no, it'll give you a Herxheimer reaction, and it should be fine. All right. Personally, for me to stay with keto, I will have dirty keto items to keep me on track for the long term, rather than not allowing something which eventually makes me cheat on the standard American diet. See, and that's kind of where the utility of Jessica's new book comes in. The Ultimate Guide to Low-Carb Baking. It can be a really good book for situations like that, for if you want to have a food that might feel like you're eating off plan, you know, like our keto carrot cake, or those zucchini chips, or the zucchini cookies rather. These are fantastic foods you can share with your kids, you can share with non-keto people, and they'll still like them, and you don't feel like you're cheating. You don't get those like crazy cravings afterwards.
That was one of the fun parts of working on this book, is trying to look at these recipes and think, how can we make this the most nutrient dense possible, right? So you have the zucchini and the chocolate chip cookies, so it's not just a bunch of almond flour and chocolate.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that, but we enhance it as well as we can.
Right. We use high quality ingredients, high quality foods. And you know what's cool? Somebody made this this comment the other day. They're like, I like how most of the recipes are nut free. You know, I mean, a few of the recipes we put up so far, one of them had almond, or two of them might have had almond flour, right? One or two.
Yeah.
But it's like actually most of the recipes are nut free, and they're not all sweet. Rider's driving on my shoulder.
That's true. There's about 50 and 50% sweet and savory baked goods.
All right. Hello, Tristan. Do you know why my jaw gets tight? I grind my teeth on keto. I don't know. This is like stress. It could be a parasite thing too. I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Why is your jaw tight? Do you know why my foot hurts? Hate to beat a dead horse, but I want to make sure that I'm calculating my protein correctly. So, is the weight that I use the weight that I'm aiming for, or the weight that would be percent of zero? No. All right. Your goal weight. 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass of your goal weight should be what you use. Your goal weight. All right. Eslam just can't stop thinking about weed. He says fat also stores THC, and sometimes you feel a subtle high when you run. And no, it's not like the runner's high. It's like a... That's fine. All right. Okay. What else is going on, guy? T.S. Odinson, what's up, man? 20 plus pounds first month. Was most of it just water? No. You're doing well, man. Don't worry about what it is. It's off. It's gone. Faith says, I hope you do one-on-one coaching with people. I know so many people who would pay for straight-up real advice with no BS. Yeah, I do consultations and coaching. And you can find the information at primaledgehealth.com. I've been pruning back the time that I spend doing it, though, because it can be really exhausting, like psychically, to talk to people so much. I love it, but I can only do like so much. So for those of you who have contacted me looking for coaching, and if I haven't responded to you, it's not because there's nothing personal. It's just sometimes I don't have the time, and we've been working on a lot of different things, and I got to stay sane. So I can't always take on a lot of clients. But next week I might have some spots. DeWitt's taking off. Later, DeWitt. Expressy says, do you eat a lot of salt when you're in ketosis? Yep. I eat, like every meal, I put at least a teaspoon, sometimes like 2 teaspoons in it. All right, we're going to start wrapping it up, guys. Thanks for joining. You guys want to see the sunset? Woo-hoo. There's the sunset. Beautiful. But we're taking off. For those of you who enjoy the content here, you guys like what you hear, you like what you see, check out primaledgehealth.com. You guys got the holidays, you got Thanksgiving coming up in the U.S. Check out primaledgehealth.com. We actually have quite a few recipes from the Ultimate Guide to Low Carb Baking, which can be used really effectively during the holidays to bring your own food to potlucks and parties and gatherings. We put up a recipe for the carrot cake the other day. Super good, kid friendly, people love it. Bring that to Thanksgiving instead of eating your own, you know, the wheat pie and all that stuff. Bring your own foods to these gatherings. It will help you immensely stay on track. You know, don't go to the potlucks and parties and stuff and not cover those bases. And it's a really good bridge, right, to actually help people without bashing them over the head and telling them, you got to do this, listen to me, right? Just give them some delicious food, feed them some goodies, and then if they ask, then you can tell them. All right, so I'm taking off. Keto with Honey Bunny, D, K. Lee, T.S. Odinson, Mike, everybody who's been watching. Thanks for checking out the live hangout. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to Grace Liu about poo. So come, and if you're listening to this later on, you know, you could find, it's not going to be tomorrow if you're listening to this on iTunes or something like that. But you can find more at primaledgehealth.com. If you want to join these live broadcasts when it's live, when it's happening, go to primaledgehealth.com, sign up for our newsletter, and we'll try to send you an email before this happens so you can come ask your questions, leave your comments, or just banter and try to lead me into conversations about AI and all this like Eslam always does. But thanks for popping in, guys. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Check out primaledgehealth.com. What do we talk about? We talked about the Ultimate Guide to Low Carb Baking, which is really good for the holidays. But then also, we talked about the other book, which is the first book that Jessica came out with. And it's called, what is it called?
Ketogenic Edge Cookbook.
The Ketogenic Edge Cookbook. Training manual for low carb, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. That's really good for beginners. That's available at primaledgehealth.com. You're not going to find them on Amazon. You're not going to find them anywhere else. And you might not even find this video on YouTube if it gets banned, demonetized. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. How do I stop this? Finish.